What's happening there, guys, and welcome back to Luxe Life. The lives of the rich and glamorous are always fascinating to look at. From expensive cars to expensive houses, some people can really afford the ultimate luxury lifestyle package. Let's take a look inside the most expensive home in the United States. Number 7. What do you expect from the most expensive mansion? We all have seen a virtual tour of a mansion we thought was the epitome of luxury. When we think of luxury mansions, we think of a house with almost all the luxuries that anyone could ever imagine. Be it an indoor or outdoor swimming pool, the perfect garden, an indoor movie theater, a gym with the world's most top-notch equipment, bedrooms and wardrobes that are bigger than our living rooms, a spa, and multiple other things that we can only dream of. Not only do these luxury mansions have gardens, garages, and pools that stretch on for miles, they also have some of the most futuristic and high-tech systems, making them some of the most lavish modern-day homes that we've ever witnessed. In today's video, we'll be looking at something very similar, so gear up as we show you the insides of the most expensive home in the United States and tell you all there is to know about this luxurious mansion. Number 6. The most expensive home in the United States. When we talk about the United States, there's no shortage of expensive real estate or massive mansions that would leave everyone in awe. However, there's one particular house that tops the list when we talk about the most expensive houses in the United States. This massive and luxurious house is located in Bel Air and is undoubtedly the most expensive mansion in all of America. Once you look at the inside of this house, you'll forget all the other mansions and palaces that you've toured. This house features amenities that probably didn't even cross your mind, and its state-of-the-art infrastructure is just a cherry on top for the owner. Not only does this house contain some of the most fascinating interiors, it also has a rich history that comes from the time when the house was being constructed, and we'll be getting into all the juicy details in this video. Number 5. Who bought the land? Like we've already mentioned, the house does have its own history, and before we get into the details about the interior of the house, first let's take a look at who originally bought the land and how the house came into being. Back in 2012, when Gangnam Style was hitting the charts and YOLO was at its peak, Niall Niami saw the land and swooped in on the opportunity to purchase it. He spent a total of $28 million to purchase the land, and well, it seems like Niall had great plans for the land since he built what is the most expensive house in the USA on this piece of property that he purchased. Niall bought this 8-acre property, and while $28 million might seem like a massive price to pay for a piece of land, there are very few people who make money the way Niall Niami does. For him, $28 million is probably equivalent to just another day at his work. Niall has made quite a name for himself and is pretty well known amongst the celebrities and all A-list people that reside in Los Angeles. A total of 600 workers were employed for the completion of this project, and it took almost 8 years for the final product to be pieced together. Niall Niami joined hands with Paul McLean to work on the stunning architecture and build the most elaborate yet elegant floor plan for this house. Obviously, when you're building a massive property like this one, there's a high chance that an interior designer will be hired, and Niall did just that. The team joined hands with Catherine Rotondi, a well-known interior designer, to give the house the perfect finishing touch. Together, they produced a house that leaves people in awe and has been quite a sight to look at. Number 4. Entrance of the house and foyer. The house is currently listed in the market for $295 million and is the biggest house you'll find in America. Now that we've taken a peek at the history of this house, let's dive into the interior of the house and give you a taste of what the ultimate luxury lifestyle looks like. As soon as you enter from the big gates of the house, you'll find yourself on the driveway. Halfway through the driveway, you'll be greeted by an entrance to the house through the subterranean garage. The entrance of the house has paved flooring to give it the perfect finishing touch, and it also has palm trees and grass that has been cut to perfection to accentuate the final look of the house. Moving on, there's a marble walkway that leads you to the main entrance of the house. The walkway is placed in the middle of a pool with 2 massive skylights and an art piece placed inside the pool. Once you cross the walkway, pass the fingerprint scanner, and enter into the house, you'll be greeted by a massive and spacious foyer with sliding glass doors, sofas on each side, and a marble rotating art piece in the center. Number 3. Office and main lounge. The one thing you'll find common throughout the house is that everything here is massive, just like the house itself. Moving on from the entrance, there's a corridor that leads to the office and the main lounge. While you're going from the entrance to the office, you'll see a set of white stairs that lead to the second floor of the house, but we'll come back to that later. Just like everything else, the office is a massive space with 25 feet high ceilings and a skylight that amps up the entire look of the office. While the entrance and foyer was based around a white theme, the office seems to have a black theme to it and is covered with glass walls that overlook the pool. Coming out of the office, you'll notice the main lounge right in front. This is the place that's bound to make your jaw drop. The lounge, also known as the King's Lounge, has a 20 feet long fireplace, beautiful glass walls that overlook 2 massive palm trees, and the stunning views of Los Angeles. The lounge itself spreads over 3,000 square feet, and even though it has massive sofa sets placed right in its center, the furniture looks small in this massive room. The lounge also has a secondary lounge and a massive black piano in the corner to further amp up the luxurious feeling of the room. Number 2. Dining room and cigar lounge. The next part of the house that we'll be touring is the dining room. The dining room, while massive, has its own wine cellars. Both the wine cellars in the dining room are temperature controlled. The dining table has 2 massive golden black chandeliers placed above it, which perfectly complement the black dining table. The dining table is also massive and has seating for over 20 people. Moving on from the dining room, there's a massive artwork hanging from the ceiling of the house that covers all 3 floors. This floating chains artwork was made overseas and was brought to LA just for this house. The house also has its own cigar room with a wood wall which hosts all vintage editions of the Playboy magazines. The house also has its very own 7,500 square feet nightclub. Number 1. Bedrooms. Well then, this house just keeps getting crazier, doesn't it? There's an art gallery inside the house which leads to the first bedroom. The bedroom has a white and light brown theme with a proper seating arrangement in front of the bed. Obviously, there are guest bedrooms as well, and there are 4 guest bedrooms that are lined together in this massive house. All guest bedrooms have massive glass walls that overlook all of Los Angeles and the angel wing sculpture that's placed in the garden. The guest bedrooms also have massive bathrooms with marble walls and bathtubs to give guests the ultimate luxury experience. The house also hosts numerous indoor and outdoor pools, a gorgeous sky deck, multiple kitchens and living rooms, outdoor barbecue setting, offices, jacuzzi, and everything else you can think of. Well guys, here's all you need to know about the most expensive house in the United States and what the interior of this massive, awe-inspiring property looks like. Do let us know in the comments below what was your favorite part of the house, and do be sure to like and subscribe. We're taking a look inside the most expensive penthouse in New York City. Number 7. The amazing 432 Park Avenue. Since New York is home to so many rich individuals, it has dedicated an entire row of buildings to those people. We are, of course, talking about Billionaires Row, which is some of the most expensive buildings and penthouses in the world. One of those buildings is the amazing 432 Park Avenue building, which is most infamous for its design. Yeah, we use the word infamous because a lot of designers don't admire the outside look of the building, which is just simply apartments stacked on top of one another in a straight line. Nonetheless, the interior of this building is truly otherworldly and was completed in 2015. It's been estimated that the building cost around $1.25 billion, and as a result, this building consists of 84 stories. The total height of this building is 1,396 feet tall, which ended up making it the 6th tallest building in the United States. Not only that, it's also among the top 3 tallest residential buildings in the world. In those 84 stories, you'll find 147 different apartments, and the cheapest among them costs a whopping $6.5 million. But let's talk about the most expensive one in this building, shall we? Number 6. Most expensive penthouse in 432 Park Avenue. As you can imagine, if the cheapest apartment costs $6.5 million, The most expensive one is bound to be unbelievably priced, right? You'd be completely correct in thinking that, because on the 96th floor of this building, you'll find an apartment that costs $87.5 million. For this insane price, you'll have access to some of the best views of Central Park due to the 24 windows that are present in the apartment. Even the kitchen has 2 giant panoramic windows, which is sure to make cooking dinner a very calming activity. Other than that, it has a 93 feet extended living and dining space, along with a great hall. One of the most amazing features in this apartment is the presence of a custom-built piano that's been placed in the middle. With this apartment, you won't only have views of Central Park, but also of the Hudson River. So you could just relax in the library that's situated in this apartment, grab a book and read it while occasionally admiring the stunning views outside. Sounds like a dream come true, isn't it? Number 5. Living in 432 Park Avenue. There are many other great features about 432 Park Avenue aside from the apartment itself. One of the great features of this building includes a private dining room where you can get the opportunity to meet some of your neighbors, or you can just eat in privacy without being interrupted by anyone. This building also has a huge terrace for its residents. Aside from that, when it comes to spending time in this building, there are a ton of things to do. There's a golf training facility in this building, a restaurant, a screening room, and a swimming pool. If all that isn't enough for you, there's also a fitness complex located in the gym. If you truly want to relax, there's also a sauna, a whirlpool, and a steam room within the luxurious building. Number 4. Steinway Tower. Another luxurious building in New York City is the Steinway Tower. It's most commonly known by its other name, 111 West 57th Street. This building has been a part of the New York skyline since 1925, but it recently went under a huge renovation project that ended up transforming the building. The height of the building is around 1,428 feet tall, and it consists of 84 floors. Due to the fact that this building was built so long ago, it still has remnants of its old design left inside it, such as the impressive painting on the wall of the lobby. But the most interesting fact to you might be the fact that apartments in this building cost around $16 to $58 million. Living in this building would be a great thing to brag about, since this particular building has been seen in the background of many movies due to its long existence. Number 3. The 157 Building. The naming scheme of buildings in New York can seem a bit odd to people, and one example of this is the building called 157. When this building finished construction, it was the highest building in the entire city of New York. It's made up of 75 stories and is 1,005 feet tall. Inside this building, you'll find 96 condos and 210 high-class rooms. There are many amazing things about this building, such as the $1.5 billion cost to build it, or the $100 million it costs to own a single condo in it, but the most interesting are the elevators that are found in this building. Due to the immense height of this building, special elevators were installed in it that could reach speeds of up to 20 miles per hour. This means that you can go from ground floor to the very top of the building in just 40 seconds. But the apartments in this building are even more impressive. They're lined with luxurious Italian marble and rosewood flooring, which make for a stunning place to live in. Number 2. The impressive 220 Central Park South Building. As we mentioned previously, there's no shortage of impressive penthouses or buildings in New York, and another example of stunning design work is the 220 Central Park South Residential Building. This is one building that has earned praise from a lot of people for its exterior design, and it truly shows a different level of architectural beauty. It can be found between Broadway and 7th Avenue and is made up of 70 stories. This building finished construction in 2019, and it ended up costing around $1.9 billion. This is the building which is said to contain the most expensive apartments in the entirety of the United States, and this was showcased by Kenneth C. Griffin. Number 1. Insanely expensive apartment. The name Kenneth C. Griffin might not be known to a lot of people, but he went ahead and spent a mind-boggling $238 million on this building. For this price, he got access to 4 floors of this impressive building. You might be thinking who he is to have the ability to afford such an expensive place. Well, he's the CEO of Citadel, which is one of the largest hedge funds in the world. Getting back to the topic at hand, After spending all that money, he's now the owner of 24,000 square feet of space within this building. Inside the apartment, which is located on the 53rd floor of the building, you can find 16 bedrooms, 17 bathrooms, and 5 separate balconies. This isn't even the start of the amenities within this apartment, since it has heated floors in all of its bathrooms and a steam shower as well. Aside from that, one of the most impressive things in this place is the black marble kitchen counter, which looks absolutely stunning to witness. But even though it has so much to offer, the overall design aesthetic of this place could be summed up as being minimal. The building even has a saltwater swimming pool, a golf simulator, and a children's play area. What more could you possibly want? These were the most expensive penthouses in New York City. As time goes by, it's getting harder and harder to live in New York, but that doesn't apply to anyone living on Billionaires Row. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so you don't miss out on future videos, and if you enjoy the content, then go ahead and leave us a like. Let's take a look at the largest homes in the United States based on square footage. You may be surprised by the largest ones on this list, so let's jump right into the video without any further ado. Number 9. The Lincoln Home National Historic Site. From 1844 until 1861, this was the residence of former President Abraham Lincoln and his family, and it's now one of Springfield's most popular attractions. The Greek Revival-style home was purchased for $1,200 by Abraham and Mary Lincoln at the time. It's Lincoln's lone house with 12 rooms spread across 2 stories. The visit to Lincoln's residence is truly free, but gifts are welcome. You should come at the Visitor Center front desk as early as possible, and parties of 15 or more should reserve 6 months in advance. Please be advised that owing to the pandemic, the building is now closed. We had previously had the pleasure of visiting this historic home museum and enjoyed the 4-block residence that's also part of the property. It's wonderful to join in with the costume volunteers who sometimes perform traditional games here. Number 8. Falling Water. Falling Water, one of the most iconic residences built by Frank Lloyd Wright, is situated in Laurel Highlands, Pennsylvania. Falling Water is a magnificent blend of building and environment, built as a holiday house for the Kaufman family, who owned a department store. The home is built above a waterfall, and the architect designed it to seem like a diving board. The outdoors is brought in via floor-to-ceiling glass windows. The building, which was finished in 1939, was made of local sandstone. This historic treasure is one of the few Frank Lloyd Wright designs in the public domain that has all of its original furniture, artworks, and surroundings. Falling Water is now a museum and a UNESCO World Heritage Site thanks to Edgar Kaufman Jr.'s donation to the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. Over 6 million people have visited the home and gardens since public tours started in 1964. The Bear Run Nature Reserve, which encompasses 5,100 acres, surrounds the property. Number 7. The Home and Museum of Ernest Hemingway. A Spanish colonial-style villa in the Florida Keys, erected in 1851, was the former residence of American writer Ernest Hemingway in the 1930s. The house was in horrible shape when the writer and his then-wife Pauline bought it in 1931. They restored the house and stayed there until 1939, when it was designated as a National Historic Landmark. Here, Hemingway penned the book To Have and to Hold, as well as a collection of short tales called The Snows of Kilimanjaro. Hemingway House, perhaps the most popular tourist attraction in Key West, is known for its 6-toed cats. On the grounds, there are perhaps 60 of them, offspring of Hemingway's own polydactyl cat Snow White. Number 6. Vizcaya Museum and Gardens. Villa Vizcaya, located in Biscayne Bay in what is now the Coconut Grove neighborhood of Miami, was the residence of James Deering. James Deering was the vice president of International Harvester Company, and his family built their money in agricultural equipment. Another fascinating Florida tourist destination is the Deering Estate in South Dade, which was owned by James's brother Charles. Built between 1914 and 1922, the Vizcaya Museum and Gardens is a National Historic Landmark. Paul Shaflin, a friend of James Deering's, was an enthusiastic participant in the project. Vizcaya is influenced by the Veneto area of Italy's country estates and incorporates numerous Mediterranean architectural characteristics. It's one of Florida's most magnificent historical mansions. The home, which was made of reinforced concrete, had a number of architectural advancements. A contemporary water filtration system, as well as a central vacuum system and an automated phone switchboard were all installed. A secret garden, labyrinth, fountain garden, mangrove beach, and famous gondola pier may all be found on the grounds. Number 5. The Breakers. This is one of the most stunning homes in Newport, Rhode Island, with an unequal position overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. In 1994, The Breakers was named a National Historic Landmark. The mansion was created by architect Richard Morris Hunt and commissioned by Cornelius Vanderbilt II in 1893. This Vanderbilt estate was inspired by the 16th century palaces of Genoa and Turin and was built in an Italian Renaissance style at a cost of $7 million. The morning room, with its platinum leaf walls and ceiling, is a highlight among the Palazzo's 70 rooms. Originally considered to be silver leaf, it was discovered to be platinum after being analyzed by the Winterthur Museum Laboratory in Delaware. This helps to explain why the surface was never tarnished. Number 4. Monticello. Since 1987, President Thomas Jefferson's old house, Monticello, has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Monticello was developed and rebuilt over a 40-year period near Jefferson's birthplace on property he acquired when he was 26. This Albemarle County monument also served as a 5,000-acre plantation employing over 400 enslaved people. Sally Hemings was one of them, and Jefferson is known to have had multiple children with her. Monticello was Jefferson's architectural essay. Monticello is an Italian word that means small mountain, and the mansion is situated on top of a hill. The residence has excellent views of the Blue Mountains. Throughout the year, guided tours of Monticello are given on a daily basis. From April through October, tours of the outdoor gardens are available. Number 3. Nemours Estate. Nemours Alfred I. Dupont's 300-acre estate has a uniquely French look to it. This 5-story neoclassical home in Wilmington features 105 rooms. The estate was finished in 1907 as a present for Alfred's second wife, Alicia. It's named after the French town represented in the French Estates General by Alfred's great-great-grandfather. The inside of the Nemours mansion is stunning, and many of Alfred's innovations may be found there. Another attraction is the chauffeur's garage, which houses a collection of antique vehicles, and the grounds, which are claimed to be the biggest formal French garden in North America. 2 spectacular elk sculptures and a fountain with 157 water jets may be seen on the Long Walk. From spring 2021 forward, the home and grounds will be available to the public. Visitors must purchase their tickets in advance. Number 2. Ohiga Castle. This opulent Hamptons hotel was formerly the residence of financier and philanthropist Otto Hermann Pohn. Ohiga is derived from the initial letters of his given name, Ohika. The French-style castle, which was built in 1919 on the top of an artificial hill, includes 127 rooms and exquisite formal gardens. In reality, Ohiga Castle was the country's second largest private house. In the opening scene of Orson Welles' film Citizen Kane, the structure was shown as Xanadu. Ohiga Castle is a member of Historic Hotels of America and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This is one of the most popular wedding locations on Long Island. Number 1. Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is the historic home of George Washington, the first president of the United States, and his wife Martha in Fairfax County, Virginia. The family vault is where Washington and Martha were interred. Mount Vernon, America's most visited historic house, is situated on the banks of the Potomac River. There are nearly a dozen antique facilities on the property, including a blacksmith and stables in addition to the 18th century home. The garden landscaping was carefully overseen by George Washington. He preferred an English style that was more lifelike. We hope you had as much fun watching these architectural and real estate marvels as we did compiling them for you. These are the world's largest mansions and most likely one-of-a-kind historical wonders. Imagine there are house purchasers of such architectural wonders while we're occupied with our daily lives. It's difficult to choose the finest since each of these is so amazing and stunning. We're taking a look inside the most luxurious castles in the world. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos going forward. Number 7. Neuschwanstein Castle. Germany itself is a very beautiful country, so just imagine how beautiful a castle would look integrated into all that greenery. Well, luckily, you don't have to imagine this because Neuschwanstein Castle is an embodiment of it all. It was built back in 1886 by Prince Ludwig III and is located in the state of Bavaria. One of the most notable things about this castle is the height of its towers, and some of them reach heights of around 213 feet. Another interesting thing about this luxurious castle is that it was supposedly the inspiration behind the castle in Sleeping Beauty. Speaking of it being luxurious, it's been estimated that the value of this castle is around $250 million. But if you want to visit this castle, you can do so, and you can even get a tour for a little over 10 euros. Number 6. Chateau de Chambord. Back when castles were built, they not only served as a symbol of the owner's wealth, but also stood for the purpose of protection from outsiders. As such, many of them were surrounded by moats. One example of this is the Chateau de Chambord, which has a decorative moat around it to this day. It's located in central France, and one of the standout features of this place is the garden that surrounds it. These gardens are so large that it recently took around $3.5 million to restore them all. Other than that, the entire chateau covers a mind-boggling area of 13,442 acres and has an impressive 426 rooms inside it. Although there are no official figures for the value of this castle, it's been estimated by some to have a value that could be upwards of $1 billion. Number 5. Buckingham Palace. There are many castles in the world, but if you were to ask someone for an example, they would say Buckingham Palace. This is because it truly is one of the most famous castles in the world, and also the place where the current Queen of the United Kingdom resides. This is one of the many homes of the royal family, but is grander than all of them. It's situated on one area of around 39 acres and has an incredible 775 rooms inside it. The rooms serve different purposes, such as 188 of them being allocated for staff, which gives a great idea of how many people work there. Other than that, there are 19 staterooms, which are just a tiny showcase of the wealth possessed by the royal family. This palace even has a swimming pool inside it, where the young children of the family learn to swim. All in all, this palace is estimated to have a value of around $5 billion. Number 4. Hearst Castle Estate. Normally, when you think of castles, you think of one giant building, but that's not the case with the Hearst Castle Estate. This castle is made up of 4 individual buildings. The estate is located in San Simeon, California. Inside, you'll find 165 rooms which serve a variety of purposes. Some of the luxuriousness of this castle comes from the way it's been decorated, with some of the sculptures actually being imported from Egypt. As you can imagine, this castle also features a pool, but that's not the special part of that particular area. This is because that pool is surrounded by tall columns that resemble Roman architecture. Other than that, even the ceilings within the castle were imported from Spain. Due to all this and much more, it's been estimated that the value of this castle estate is somewhere around $700 million. Number 3. Ashford Castle. Castles come in all shapes and sizes, and Ashford Castle is a perfect example of one of them standing out due to its relatively small size. This castle covers an area of around 350 acres, which for any other type of building would be massive, but that isn't the case here. Still though, this castle is regarded as one of the most luxurious in the entire world. Inside it, you'll find multicolored chandeliers and oak panels all over the walls. There's also a stunning collection of artworks that can be found inside the castle. This is one castle that's actually up for sale, and the previous owner of this castle listed it at a price of around $30 million. But if you don't have that kind of money, you can still enjoy the luxuries of this castle by renting a room there, because this castle also serves as a hotel. On the land surrounding it, you can even go horse riding and take in the beautiful greenery that can be found everywhere. Number 2. Frederiksborg Castle. Now that castles are no longer the norm when it comes to new structures being built, preserving the already existing ones is a task that's been taken by many. This preservation turned out to be painfully necessary in regards to the Frederiksborg Castle that's located in Denmark. It can be found around 18 miles north of Copenhagen, which is the capital of Denmark. It was initially built by King Christian IV, but due to a fire that occurred in 1859, many of the structures of this castle burned down. Only a few things remained, such as the chapel. Due to this, it was the utmost concern to the royal family of Denmark that it be rebuilt. As such, the structure of the castle was rebuilt, but it served a new purpose after its reconstruction. Nowadays, this castle functions as the Museum of National History, which is a very important thing for a country to have, and where better to locate it than in one of the oldest castles in history. Due to the fact that the castle has been rebuilt, its value hasn't remained as high as it was in the past. It's been reported that the value of this stunning castle is somewhere around $500 million. It's rather unfortunate when simple things like a fire can destroy a historically important piece of architecture, but it's great that the castle is standing once again so that newer generations can once again bask in its brilliance and luxuriousness. Number 1. Royal Chateau Versailles. If there's one castle that's sure to stump many others with its grandness and magnificence, it's the Royal Chateau Versailles. There's so much grandiosity in this palace that it becomes hard to comprehend. For example, this structure contains within it a mind-blowing 2,300 rooms. The original purpose of this being built was that King Louis XIV wanted to display the power and wealth of his country. As you can imagine and see, he very much succeeded in doing so. Even though many of these castles are not up for sale, it's interesting to see just how valuable they are, which is why it might astonish you to know that the Royal Chateau Versailles is valued somewhere between $200 to $300 billion. This place even has its very own gallery within it called the Gallery of Battles, which is a very self-explanatory title. Other than that, this luxurious castle is also home to a hall of mirrors where hundreds of mirrors reflect back at visitors as they stroll through the hall. So these were some of the most luxurious castles in the world. One of the many useful attributes of castles is that they serve as useful time capsules and allow us to peer into the past. This brings us to the end of our video. If you've made it this far and enjoyed what you've watched, then do let us know by smashing that like button, and if you haven't done so already, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so you don't miss out on future videos going forward. And as always, I'll catch you guys later in another video. Bye now!